Hi class, it's week 4 and we are doing our warm-up activity, which is this cool little square. So I will show you how to do that. I hope you enjoy it and have fun. And for your challenge project, you can make a couple of these, four total. Fill them in with different colors, or don't even use black and use a different color, and see what kind of patterns you can create and what different colors look like. So we'll get started with your warm-up, and then if you want to do the challenge project, you can. For this warm-up activity, we are going to create a 4" by 4" square. So I have a little scrap piece of paper, and I am going to line my ruler up with the edge of my paper, and it doesn't matter if this one is in the middle or not, because this is just a practice warm-up activity. So I'm just going to do a guideline across the top. Now I'm going to just kind of slide it over to where I think the center might be, and I'm going to darken that line, that straight line, to make it 4 inches. Now I'm going to line my ruler up with the top of my paper because that's a straight edge, and then I am going to just draw a guideline down the side of my paper, and then I'm going to measure from that point down to where the 4 inches is. I'm going to darken it there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to come to the end of this 4-inch line, and I'm going to line my ruler up to the top of my paper and just draw my guideline down. Move my ruler down to where the 0 is on that point, and I am going to come down to where the 4 inches is and darken my 4-inch line there. Then I'm going to connect the two at the bottom. So now I have a 4" by 4, Now I have a 4" by 4" square. Now we're going to do guidelines in the middle. So we're going to put an X in the middle of our paper. So we're going to do from diagonal, or from corner to corner, and we're going to make an X in the middle of our square. So now we have this center point, because if you cross both diagonals, that's going to be the exact center of our square. We're only going to go on this guideline. This one is just to help us find the center point, and we will use it in a minute, but from our center point, we're going to put our 0 on the center point on the bottom half of that diagonal. And from here, we're going to mark every ½ inch. And when you get to the bottom of this, you are going to notice that you don't have a full ½ inch. That is okay, because we don't have to have this piece of the illusion to be a full ½ inch. It's still going to show up and look fine. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side of that same line. So here's where I did my marks this time. And I'm going to turn my paper and put that top piece down at the bottom. So it's the same line, the same diagonal. There's my tallies. Here's the piece I need to do. And that's to keep it the same measurements, to keep it even. Line my 0 up on that line and mark every ½ inch. And because we rotated the paper and we started our measurements from the center point, we have the equal space from that last ½ inch mark to the edge of our paper on both, or edge of our square on both sides. So that's why we did it that way. Now we have our center line, and we're going to leave that one in place there. We're going to come to our corner point here, and we're going to connect it to every ½ inch mark on that diagonal. I'm just going to rotate my ruler to the next one. And I'm drawing lines from my corner point to each of those 1/2 inch marks. Now when you do this last line, you're going to notice that it is smaller than the other ones. And that's okay because it's going to be the same size on all 4 of your edges. We're going to do the same thing going this way. So we're going to start in the corner and connect to each of those 1/2 inch marks all the way to the other side. And when you are done, it should look like that. Now we're going to turn our paper over and we are going to do the same thing from this corner to each of our halfway 1/2 inch marks. When you're done, it will look like this. And as you can see, we already have the start of an illusion. So now we are going to take our Sharpie, and just like we did on the other ones, we are going to trace all of our lines, including the outside edges. So just go ahead, use your ruler to line up and start tracing each of the lines that you have already drawn. There is the first half of my my square completed. Now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now we are ready to trace that middle line down the center, our diagonal. Once that's traced, we're going to start marking our pattern. So we're going to start in this on the right side, and we're going to mark, skip, mark, skip, mark, skip, mark, skip, mark, skip, mark, and then that one's going to be white. Now we're going to do the opposite on the other side. So this one is white, this one is going to be colored in, and we're going to repeat that pattern. So black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. And that is the pattern that you are going to color in. So now that you have your pattern marked, go ahead and start coloring in each of those sections. And then you will have your completed shape, your completed square. There's warm-up activity complete. And it's a pretty cool optical illusion. I hope that you had fun getting your mind around this pattern, because for our final project, we are going to make this pattern, but in a slightly different way. I can't wait to see your work.